Let's talk about this Mozzy.
Oh yeah, man, my favorite rapper.
Now, you've said on this podcast, Streets and Scholars, and at least 2 other episodes, that the gun is an automatic 5-year sentence.
Right.
But I believe what you meant to say is if it's used in the course or the commission of a crime.
Right. I misspoke on that because most of the people that's coming in wasn't just for simple firearm possession. You know, most of the guys who was coming in had a gun on top of theirs, something else, their bank robbery, they drug dealing. So when you have the 924C, the 924C states that it is a mandatory minimum sentence under federal guidelines if you using the gun in any kind of, even if it's a possession with drugs, because they saying you using the gun to protect the drugs. If it's a bank robbery, of course, you know, you use the gun in a bank robbery. So if you use a gun in the commission of a crime, it's definitely, you know, or in possession while you're doing a crime, is definitely a 5-year, 60-month mandatory minimum. Now, if you have the 922G, the 922G is the simple possession, the crossing state lines with a firearm, or the unlicensed sale of a firearm, then that sentence is punishable of not more than 10 years. So the judge can have discretion to give you what they want to, but just not more than 10 years. That's how it's actually read. And I did misspoke when I said that it was an automatic 60 months for every federal gun crime.
So the 924C is the lesser offense, right?
No, it's not the lesser offense. It's used in the commission of a crime or with another crime. Say if you have drugs and you have the gun, if you're doing a robbery, you have the gun. If you're doing any kind of federal crime and you have the gun, it's mandatory 60 months. Yeah. So
what was Mozzy's gun?
Mozzy had a possession. You know, now I don't know if he might have had some little weed or something on it, but Mozzy had a possession. I believe he was out here in California and they caught him with a pistol. How it went federal, I don't know. They just might have decided to pick it up. Maybe he was on post office property. I don't know. I didn't dig that deep into his case, you know, because this happened last January. January 21 actually is when Mozzy got caught with that firearm. And so they went on and gave him the year and the day.
Yeah, he was. It was a traffic stop in Culver City back in January 21. So that's definitely not federal, right? A traffic stop?
Well, you know, true, but you know, the feds can pick up all gun crimes. I mean, you know, all gun possessions and crimes. They have the right to do that. Why Mozzy's went federal? Maybe he's a high-profile rapper. They wanted to get their hooks in him, you know. I don't know, but maybe they felt he would have beat it in the state on a legal search and seizure or something like that. Maybe he did beat it in the state. Maybe he did get a dismissal in the state and the feds doubled back and picked it up. You know, we don't know those circumstances.
Well, it says here he was pulled over by Culver City PD and the police smelled marijuana. Don't they always smell marijuana?
Oh, they always smell it, man.
They always smell it.
Man, I ain't smoked in 15 years and they tell me, man, we smell marijuana. Man, get out of here, man.
And then that gave them what's called the what is the term I'm looking for them to be able to search it? The
it's a fake consent, you know what I mean?
Probable cause.
Yeah.
It gave them the probable cause to search his vehicle, and they found a Glock 2.6 Gen 4 9mm caliber 16 round. Ooh, 16 rounds. That's
a lot. Yeah.
The 16 round.
That could be why it went federal.
The 16 round magazine is banned in California.
That's why I say that could be why it went federal. Yeah.
Yeah. So they found that a 9mm loop. I think they found 2 pistols and a personal amount of weed, a small amount of weed. That doesn't make the gun thing any worse, does it? No.
Now, if you had some pounds, they would have. That's when they would have hit him with the 924C. You protecting the drugs with the gun, and that's when the mandatory minimum come in. But since he had a smoking size sack, you know, they didn't figure that he was protecting, you know, the weed with the gun, you know.
Now his bail was $35,000. In the feds, you can still bond out using 10%, 1%, 5% and property, right?
Well, I'm thinking he didn't go straight to the feds. I'm thinking he went to the local police station as you usually do for a crime like that. You know, he probably bonded out from the local station.
Oh.
He probably got a letter. What happens is the state will dismiss the case. The feds will refile it. You know, so he might have. It's two ways they could have went about it. He could have bonded out from the state case. When the federals came and he showed up on time, they might have could have just said, "Hey, don't you know, we not gonna make you rebond out." Because it was obviously was out. It just happened in January 21, and he's just turning himself in. But you can bond out from the feds. A lot of people think you can't, but you actually can.
Yeah, it doesn't give us the details here. It just says that he got arrested in January 21. He posted $35,000 bail. He pled guilty in January 22, a year later, and in April, a judge sentenced him to 12 months, and he has just turned himself in July last month. So, 1 year for a gun. Some people would say that's not a normal gun sentence, and he's also a felon with a gun.
Right.
So, do you think 1 year is actually a sweetheart deal for a ex-felon with a gun?
Yeah, it is, basically because it's just a simple possession. You know what I mean? And like I say, I don't know all the details of the case. You know, but usually felons, the state would have gave you more than that. State would have gave you 3 years. You know what I mean? So I don't know how the feds picked it up, and but at the same time, Mozzy a millionaire. He could have had some of them high-powered lawyers walk in there and say he haven't been a felon for 15 years. You know what I mean? There's certain things that could have been said that we don't know the circumstances to, and he ended up with that year and a day.
Thanks for watching this video clip of Streets and Scholars podcast with Alex, Alonso, and FG. If you want to listen to the entire episode, go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Streets and Scholars. But we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And thanks for listening to another episode of Streets and Scholars.